chat as well. So we've got Walther the Fourth against Numberplay here in a matchup of, let me check real quick here. I believe it's 2-0 runners, but I'm just gonna double check on that. I think Walther, I remember, was 2-0. Maybe.
Yes, I believe that is what I as well had looked up. So it looks like our runners are starting off here. Uncle's about to leave. Looks like he's heading off for a pack of smokes, according to him. And we're gonna get a quick check on the Link's house, and find ourselves 300 rupees. So we got lots of rupees to start us off.
Indeed, and keep in mind this is a standard randomizer start. Actually, getting a real quick check from Numberplay there. It looked like it was 2 crystals and a pendant up at Tower of Hera. I couldn't tell at the moment. A little hard to check that quick, but
yeah, I believe I saw the same thing. That was a real quick check.
I think it was a red crystal at Eastern, regular at Desert, and then red pendant at Tower of Hera. They're making their way into escape here, and just 10 bombs.
A bomb seed, the dreaded bomb seed. I don't know about you, but I have found myself to be very hit or miss when I'm playing on the bomb seeds, and we'll have to see that these 2-0 racers are most likely going to be well prepared for that.
Agreed. I greatly dislike bomb seeds, for what it's worth. They are not fun.
It is a lot of excitement when we get to that rat room where they're trying to get that last key. It's always kind of nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Did you see the other night that had an ice rod to start with, so that would have made things a lot easier if they'd had something like that, freeze the rat in place and then bomb them. But unfortunately, they're going to have to go ahead and try it the old-fashioned way here.
Indeed, and I'm actually interested to see the last few seeds that I've been watching. We've found an additional weapon early on. Looks like Walther here has got a perfectly choreographed strategy to get that double bomb off. It was really exciting to see that.
And we've got a key in that chest, so we've got 2 keys going on here. We're still going to have to pick one up at some point. I believe that actually is the key that they would normally get if they were to go through escape, so we'll probably want to hold on to that one.
Yeah, I agree. So passing the 2 green guards here. The next room is a fairly easy one. It's just going to take a single bomb here. I'm excited to see if Walter is going to do the other fast strat for this blue guard, where he sets up the 2 bombs. Oh, it's a little bit different than the one I've seen before, but
kind of same result, looks like, and
result.
Big old heart in the chest there.
Numberplay has managed to hide behind one of the statues, so the guard lost sight of him, but he also takes him out with only 2 bombs.
And that's kind of the key for dealing with those blue guards in both of those rooms, is you got to use the chests and statues as a way to kind of block their movement.
Yes, so both of our runners now have 5 bombs at this point. Ooh, Walter trying to sneak up on that green guard. Unfortunately, got a little too close.
I think he just got a little bit of unlucky movement there, that the guard went to the right instead of going down like Numberplay had.
Yeah, slows things down just a little bit. But, ooh, power glove there next to Zelda.
It's a welcome sight.
It's a
and
nice
for those wondering in chat, the sprites that our runners are running, by the way, I should mention that there are over 100 sprites now that you can play in the randomizer. Obviously, Numberplay playing as the best starter, Squirtle. And Walther has Valera from World of Warcraft.
Valeria Windrunner, I believe, is the full name, yes.
I think it's Valerius. I think it's Sanguinar.
Oh,
yeah, Valera.
Maybe. Oh, I see what it is. That makes sense now. It's the red outfit makes a lot more sense now.
Yes.
All right, both of our runners have 5 bombs, which is about as good as you can hope, without picking up any extras along the way for the second phase of the escape.
Walther getting a little bit of unluckiness there with just the positioning, and Numberplay likewise, a little bit of unluckiness with that soldier making the horizontal path instead of the vertical one. Won't cost him too much time, but this kind of is a little bit of a pain in the butt to have to walk through there.
Yeah, it seems that the bomb opening tends to slow down the escape by about 20 20 to 30 seconds for some runners. Just having to wait for all of the bombs to go off is just going to delay their exit. It'll be interesting to see how fast these guys can make it through this last section.
I would agree. A little bit of awkward snake placement there as well for Walther. Numberplay getting a little bit nicer to start, but then a couple of the snakes turned. Ooh, a shovel.
So fetch quests early on. Interesting. Fortunately, usually when you clear Kakariko for the first time, though, heading down south to check that dig spot is not going to be a huge time investment and might provide something very useful for them.
Or it could just be more fetch quests.
If they dig up the mushroom, we'll know. Walter's first bomb, unfortunately, does not find the key rat. The second one does. Numberplay's chasing another rat and did pick the correct one to get his key to get out of here.
Yeah, that room's always a little tough when you've got that many rats running around because they'll just scatter right at the start, and you know which one has the key at the start, but you just gotta hope that they go straight up instead of going to the right.
So we pick up another set of 300 rupees. We've got our Zora money already started the game, it seems. And another piece of heart from Back of Escape, as well as an arrow upgrade, I believe that was.
Yes, that was an arrow. It looks like that was just an arrow upgrade for usual. But keep in mind, we also means we have money for the bottle vendor in Kakariko as well.
Yeah, we are flush with cash for both of our runners. Now, I didn't see the map, so I believe that means that Sanctuary's chest is definitely the map. And
Correct.
Walter seems to be in agreement. He and Numberplay both leave that one there without wasting time checking it.
That is smart play. It is the correct play as well. That has to be the map. The Sanctuary room is considered to be part of what would be that first dungeon, that Hyrule Castle escape dungeon. So there's two items that you have to find in there, which are the big key, obviously, that drops off the ball and chain guard, and the map. So you can kind of count the number of items. If you don't run into the map, it's in Sanctuary chest.
Now, both of our runners have made the decision not to immediately check Lumberjack House, so we are in the dark about whether or not this is an Aghanim seed, but they do find the fighter sword here in the Lost Woods.
Indeed. Nice find there at the mushroom location, the vanilla mushroom location, having the fighter sword. And just a big 20 on the Lost Woods Thieves ledge, I guess you'd call that.
Yeah, so, the bandits' hideout.
Yeah, so one of the other things to keep in mind here, they have the money to go do Zora, but that does not necessarily mean that the game is telling them you have to go do Zora.
Yes, that is a common misconception that I run into a lot as well, that the game will feed you rupees if Zora is logically required. It does seem to work out like that quite a bit, but it is not a necessary element as far as I am aware.
Correct. The game will assume that you'll just have the rupees to do it. It doesn't say, I'm going to put 300 rupees here and 300 rupees there and I'll go do Zora. It just assumes you have enough to go do it at any time.
So we find the first chest a big heart, then a piece of heart, a big 20 rupees, and a blue rupee in the bottom of Blind's house. Numberplay's heading on to the back now. He's going to pick up a few more rupees before he sees 3 bombs. A very tame Blind's house. Usually we get something exciting in that first set of chests.
Well, we still do have we still have got Tavern. Maybe we'll find a bottle here. We'll got to check on Sick Kid. Maybe Bottle Vendor has something of value. We haven't seen that checked yet.
Numberplay's first one down the well. Finds 3 more bombs.
Yes, indeed. We'll get to see what's in this bomb chest back here. It's the bomb upgrade.
We got a lot of bombs in this dungeon, in this seed so far. More bomb upgrades. Another set of 20 rupees, and then 40 more rupees, or 20 more rupees, and 20 more rupees.
Can you say rich person seed here?
Perhaps this game feels like it's the sequel to A Link to the Past, A Link Between Worlds, where you had to buy all your items.
Well, that could certainly be the case here. Sometimes you normally would have to buy bombs, but the game's also been kind enough to provide some for our runners as well.
Yep. So our bottle vendor gave us another big heart and a single arrow from the chicken coop house there.
Well, unfortunately, I'm starting to get some flashbacks from a seed I may have run recently. It was just super trolly, nothing but bombs and rubies really early on.
Yes, it is. This seed has been, I don't want to say stingy, but it's playing its cards close to its chest, it seems. Does not want to give our runners any hope for a quick seed, but sometimes that is to their benefit. If you end up getting a lot of items that will open up the world for you early on, you're faced with the dilemma of trying to guess where you need to go next. So having just a few potential choices really narrows where you're going to head and removes the chance of you making an ill-advised choice.
I would agree. It makes it very lateral. And we just had a single rupee up there in the library bookcase, and Numberplay is going to go ahead and make the quicker but more mysterious choice of just doing the maze and seeing, hey, do I need to actually go over and grab a thing? It can be quicker because if you have a lot of items that you're still looking for, there may be a higher possibility of a important item being up there. We can get a shovel check here real quick. Just a heart, full heart, which is good, but still just a heart. Still not finding a lot of things that we need so far.
Yeah, so since they have the gloves, it's a quick move over here. Walter's deciding to just go and lift the rock up, whereas Numberplay is saving and quitting. Where if he's heading down to the swamp or to the dam check, it's actually slightly slower to do it that way because you have the gloves. But most of the time, it's just muscle memory that's going to make you do that quick save and quit.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but it's not going to be too much of obviously a time loss here. Numberplay is going to be right in there. We're going to get a Swamp Dam high five.
So we find a piece of heart inside the dam,
Ooh.
but a set of... That was an exciting find there. The first kind of useful item we've had for a little while since the sword back in Lost Woods, but the silver arrows were sitting under the lake there.
Indeed, a little bit soggy. Hopefully, well, thankfully they're made of silver, so silver doesn't rust; it just tarnishes. But yeah, that is very nice to have that at the start, even if you don't have the bow. More likely than not, something's going to be bow required, but having those silvers just saves you a whole lot of hassle of having to do silverless later.
Another danger of the early bomb seed is that you might have to do Mini Moldorn Cave with bombs only, but our runners both have swords, so even though Walter does choose to use mostly his bombs, manages to clear that out pretty quickly. Finds a big 20, 50 rupees, the mirror, a bottle with a bee in it, and the bloomerang. So a little bit, things are opening up slightly through this section of the game.
Yeah, not too bad. I think, especially with Walther and Number, probably as long as they've been playing this game, they've very likely had to do several runs with the bombs in Mini Moldorm Cave as the way to do it. So I'm fairly confident that they've got the skill and even the muscle memory just to remember how to do that.
Oh yeah, of course. It's just sometimes that bad luck strikes, and you just quit moving that way.
Yeah, so, a little bit RNG.
We move past these dangerous crabs, but because we've collected what seems to be an impressive number of hearts up to this point, it really doesn't matter if you get hurt. Sometimes running through here when you only have one or two extra hearts does not... you can kind of get a little nerve-wracking, but Walter picks up another piece of heart there, and...
Yeah, it's going to give him a full heart because he just filled up, so it'll be very helpful.
So we don't really have very many more places to go. What do you think the next most likely check will be then for our runners here?
Good question. I think we're going to see a fake flipper. I think Walter's trying to set that up right now. I was thinking probably fake flipper, go up to Zora. You don't have the moon pearl, so you can't do... I'll probably get a hobo check here too, I would assume. But you don't have the moon pearl, so you can't do the water walk. to check out the waterfall cave.
Yeah, it looks like Numberplay is following suit with the Fig Flipper. Now he uses the bomb to knock him right up to the edge of the screen transition. The bomb won't, by self-blowing yourself up there, you won't actually transition the screen, which puts you in the perfect spot to activate the Fig Flipper check.
And just a heart on Lake Hilly Island. And I've never seen that before, but that's actually really smart. I may have to borrow that in the future.
Yeah, I've seen people be using that technique and realized what they were doing a couple of in the first week and thought, oh, there's a new way to do it. We saw in the hobo there a hook shot. So another highly useful and versatile item trickling into our players' pockets.
Indeed, and actually, I'm kind of surprised Hobo had something of value. I've been finding more often than not he's kind of a, I guess you could say a crapshoot, but this time paid off.
Indeed, yeah. Walter actually did a neat little trick there that you could do as you're hopping out of the water. At that spot in Zora's, you can actually jump over the rock there. It's just kind of cool.
There's all kinds of neat little jumps like that. There's one you can do too if you get stuck on. Maybe we'll see them do it. If you get stuck on the checkerboard cave ledge, you can actually jump off the ledge. I think because of the way that the game handles the layers, you jump off the ledge onto the checkerboard cave ledge.
All right, it's time to find out if all of those rupees were worth it. Zora,
The
answer is nope. Sorry about your luck. So, although Hookshot made the Fig Flippers move by both of these players an excellent choice, small sequence break to get a lot of mobility and a lot of versatility. So, I don't think either runner is going to be feeling bad about the fact that they got 10 arrows for their 500 rupees after that.
These are artisanal arrows. They're finely crafted by King Zora's finest arrow craftsmen.
So it looks like Walter's going to go and do the dark room up to Death Mountain.
Looks like that, yes.
Yeah, with both the sword and, well, the sword itself really makes this a very easy dark room that for runners of this caliber to maneuver. Numberplay seems to be following directly in his footsteps, making all of the same choices at this point, unless he's simply going to check Lumberjack House, which I don't believe is.
Oh, he's actually going to do that.
This is what he's going to do.
Commentator curse. We've cursed him to check Lumberjack Ledge.
So we'll get a little bit of information that we don't have yet. This could be an Agassiz. Let's take a look.
No, maybe not.
Not necessarily true yet. Looked like that was just an arrow capacity upgrade. I missed what was on Old Man, unfortunately, while doing that. But it sounded, from the sound of it, it was probably some kind of item upgrade as well.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it was anything too significant. And indeed, we're getting a check there. Crystal number 6 at Eastern Palace, crystal number 4 at Desert Palace, and it looks like indeed the red pendant is at Tower Pharaoh.
Now, it should be noted that this is technically a sequence break ×2 for our runners. Walter's going to go ahead and do the East Death Mountain. He had to go through the dark room to get here, as well using the hook shot, which was another sequence break. So, not that that matters, but we won't find anything logically in sequence from these checks at this time, or we may not necessarily.
Correct. But that also may mean that we find something out of sequence that could send our runners somewhere that they weren't expecting to go.
Yes, indeed. So our first 2 checks didn't really pay off with anything overly dramatic, just more life, more love. But these 5 chests in the Paradox Cave give us some more rupees, another piece of heart, another full heart container, 20 more rupees, plus 5 extra change.
Yes, indeed. And we're seeing Numberplay actually use the mirror glitch there to have to bypass falling through the hole. He's going to pick up all of the things that Walter's already got here. Walter going to be making his way up, it looks like, to check out the floating island and maybe do a little dip into Spiral Cave here.
So we saw 50 rupees there on the floating island, but neither of our runners are likely ever going to be going that way at any part of their run today.
Yeah, and the one thing that kind of stinks about doing all of this early is once you get the Moon Pearl and the Titansmiths, that will reopen up a big chunk of East Death Mountain in the Dark World that they can definitely access and clear out. So it'll be interesting to see if and when they come back up here.
Yes, so it feels like we're running out of places to go. Walter's gonna fill up his hearts at the old man. He's probably going to go up Death Mountain the traditional way when you first arrive. He does have the mirror, so he's going to be able to check whatever's out on Spectacle Rock and what's under Spectacle Rock as well. So we'll take a look at that in a few moments.
Yes, indeed. We'll have 2 more items to check, and then we'll get to see where that sends our runners next. They don't have access to get into Desert Palace, but they could get into Tower of Hera. They don't have anything to do with the basement. They don't have a source. Cana Berna is inside Spectacle Rock.
That's an item I think that it's some runners will value it over others. It does provide a little bit of defense. It makes certain areas a lot easier. It might be interesting to see if on the way down the mountain, Walter decides to jump down there and pick it up.
I would agree with that. It's going to skip that heart. Start with, it looks like it's going to the Tower of Hera here. Maybe try and find those 2 items real quick. See if he doesn't have to go through and complete the whole dungeon.
Indeed. Now this is a very interesting play for me. I typically see most of the runners choosing to kind of forego the pendant dungeons if they don't have to. Numberplay is kind of doing what I would say is a more traditional play here and heading towards Eastern. But Walter did find himself a bottle of green goo.
And he's got the big key so that he'll be able to go ahead and check the upstairs chest. I don't know if we'll see a Moldworm fight here. Numberplay going to go ahead and open up the back room of Hasrela's hut. And we'll see what's back here. Ooh, the flute! That's good, and the red meringue. I'm not so excited about that, but the flute!
Yes, the flute really does put all of what we've seen in Death Mountain, or some of what we've seen in Death Mountain, back into sequence, into the logical sequence. The eastern side, of course, with the hookshot still out, but anything we find in Tower of Hera now is logically appropriate.
Correct. And one of the things to keep in mind as well, Numberplay probably going to go get that swag duck, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we see a sick kid check here as well, while Walter's going to go open the big chest in the Tower of Hera, hoping for it to be an item so that he can get on out of here. It's just a compass. Not the best sign.
Yep. So this does mean that he's going to have to fighter sword Moldorm if that is his intention, to see if he has the remaining item. Which does take quite a few more swings than some of the weapons that you could be using.
Meanwhile, Numberplay, if you would all please rise, remove your hats for the Swag Duck National Anthem. Thank you very much.
So this is our early indicator of how trolly this seed will be.
Indeed. And keep in mind, if this is the map, that means that the last item's in the bottom chest, the basement chest of Tower of Hera, which neither runner has the fire source yet to go ahead and complete that.
Yes, and Walter was fighting Trolldorm here. Numberplay picked himself up the Ether Medallion and has fluted his way back up. Looks like he's going to head into the Tower of Hera as well, checking the same checks that Walter made.
And it is bomb upgrade, so the map is in that bottom chest in the basement. Nobody has to go check that.
Which is always a nice feeling when you're making this kind of a play, to know that you won't be heading back up to check this particular dungeon out ever again, even though you've left this piece.
Correct. And he's got the medallion as well, so Walther doesn't have to really worry about, if it's a pedestal seed, I gotta go back and kill Moldorm now and go all the way back up the tower to do it. He's already got that taken care of.
Yeah, it's a short enough dungeon that I think that just makes good sense to, if you're going in there, that you might as well finish it off. Numberplay took a quick look there at the map of the Dark World. I didn't quite get a chance to see much. I wasn't, unfortunately, looking at his screen. Maybe our tracker is going to be on the ball for that and have a couple of new pieces of information. Looks like we saw Ice Palace was the green pendant.
Which means that there are still 5 crystals and the blue pendant dungeon in the wonderful world of the Dark World.
We've got Swamp Palace also indicating as a crystal.
Yes, indeed.
Walter's going to pick himself up the flute. Just remembering that on the way out, he did not stop by to pick up that cane of Verna, so it's still sitting there under Spectacle Rock.
I believe Numberplay also has chosen to forego that for now.
Of course, if they find that they need it, they know where it is, and it's not an impossible thing to check. Now, Walter is heading into Eastern Palace, which is the last high concentration area I think that's available to our runners right now.
Correct. Based on what we have, that is the last high concentration area. There is one more chest to check out for this if they get nothing for progression, which would be Agina's Cave. And presumably, one of these locations will have something that will hint at, do you need to go to Aga or not? So, we'll be looking out for Cape. We still got to find Lamp. That's actually really important too. So, and possibly a Master Sword could be the other thing that they're looking for. Oh.
Titansmith does give us the potential for Dark World access. Of course, they do need to find the Moon Pearl then. Correct. That's going to lead us away from an Agaseed. So we'll have to see what we
Commentator
find.
reverse curse there. I was trying to be like, well, it could be logically any one of these things that could indicate Agaseed, and then it's just Titansmith. It's like, great job. And Walther's actually going to do something really, really nice here. Use a little shortcut with the hook shot to go ahead and bypass going through a room there. Save a little bit of time.
Yeah, indeed. I don't think that either of these runners are going to complain about the curse of not having to do an Agaseed, so...
I know I wouldn't, so...
Yep, so if they do decide to rewatch their run afterwards, I think they'll be very pleased with what was happening.
Oh, indeed. Good point that chat's pointing out. That's going to open up Checkerboard Cave, which could have the Moon Pearl in it.
Yes, that actually will have a lot of action for the bunny. It also makes Super Bunny Cave a possibility as well.
This all seems very familiar. Are we sure that they are not playing my seed that I had played last time? That's where the Moon Pearl was. It was in Checkerboard Cave with the exact same setup.
Oh wow! It's often forgotten that you can do that. So good call, chat, for reminding us. And Numberplay does remember that the Cane of Brian or the Cane of Berna is down there, and does take a slight detour down to just pick that up in case he finds it necessary later on in the game.
And indeed, we've got one more item to find here in Eastern Palace, but Desert Palace is also open because they do have the mirror, so they can go ahead, get that Dark World access, do Misery Mire, do Checkerboard Cave, and then go ahead and mirror out back to do Desert Palace and try to start doing a clear of that.
Yeah, it does feel it feels good when you can actually make it all the way through Desert Palace, but without the boots, it's always a gamble that there might be something necessary on the torch there. Numberplay is going to head up to Agina's Cave, give us a look there.
And get to see if it's Agony Cave tonight. Maybe it'll be not. So we get to see if our friend's holding out on us, or if this is going to be a whole bunch of agony early on in the game.
Just another piece of heart. We are already at 11 hearts before we've gotten a hammer or any of the other typical hopeful early game items that most runners are happy to see. The hook shot, of course, was a nice one, but still logically a sequence break at this point.
This kind of feels like a seat that's probably going to open up without having to go to Aga at some point for Dark World access, and it's just going to be like, go do Thieves Town with 11 hearts and green mail. Good luck.
So we get to enjoy the anthem now.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Numberplay will be making the Eastern Palace dip here.
So both of our runners are pretty much at the same kind of place as the other. They've just been going in slightly different order.
Right.
Walter's now going to check his sick kid. Nobody's managed to find anything that's really allowed them to break away from the other player. You head down a new path.
Yeah, we've kind of got this seed going right now where they're checking all the overworld locations, just looking for stuff. And Walther will make the play with a little bit of a head start, getting a check into Desert Palace here, but he's not going to check Agina's Cave yet. Or maybe he might actually be doing it now. I think we're going to get to see it.
He has the mirror, so he can kind of do a nice little circular route. You don't see this very often, just because no Moon Pearl, but mirror early on, forced to look this way. Just doesn't seem to come up all that often.
No, not really. Usually just Agina's Cave is like a late check when you're already in Desert Palace.
Mm.
So this will be, we know what's in here, but it's very interesting to see this path.
Yeah, it's going to allow him to head up to Checkerboard Cave and then into the ledge of Desert Palace there. So it's very efficient as far as a routing is concerned.
Right, and there's two things that really matter with your routing, which are efficiency and decision making, which they kind of go hand in hand, but they're not always the same. Because decision making to me is at least kind of it's general broad sense, and then efficiency is like kind of like the micro play of how you route it.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good way to break it down. It's quite possible to make a good choice as to where you should be going, but then to have a hard time making your way through that area. And we find ourselves the flippers here in Checkerboard, which puts the hookshot back into logic. We are all we've restored most of our items into logical sequence. I don't think we've gotten anything that was super necessary outside of through going through a dark room, which is the only kind of unknown thing still.
There we go. We got a little bit more of a check there from Walther. I still missed which dungeon had the second pendant, but we did see Swamp Palace is the second red crystal, and it looks like Meyer and Thieves Town are going to be crystal dungeons as well.
Yeah, I believe it was Turtle Rock was the last pendant.
Which can be a blessing or a curse depending on if you gotta dive into a pendant dungeon. If you don't and you get everything and you're in go mode, that saves you a ton of time not having to go into TR.
So we're gonna get a first look at what's on the torch here in Desert, and it is the big key. So Desert is boots locked. There's still a chance to grab a couple of a useful item here as long as we find a key in this next pot or the useful item here.
It's gonna be a key. Indeed, so they'll be able to go check right side right now. Potentially, you would think that because it's boots locked, that there's going to be some kind of progression item here, or perhaps the flippers are that progression item and we just don't know it yet.
So Numberplay's making an interesting move here. He's heading into the Meyer shed. This is another area where you can do a little glitch that will allow you to open these chests even without the Moon Pearl. He finds the blue mail there, even though he's technically in bunny form. Yeah,
that's the... I saw him talking about that in chat. He's doing the glitch that lets you super bunny Meyer shed. And now he's just going to go over and check Checkerboard Cave. Presumably, I think this means that further progression is in Waterfall Cave, over by Zora.
Well, that's true. We weren't able to check those because we did not have the Moon at the time when they fake flippered.
But we do have the flippers now, so we can go ahead and check that.
Yep. And Walter's deciding to take that super bunny look.
Indeed, so we'll get a quick check. Oh, no, he's going to continue. He's
kind of had Had some second thoughts there, but third thoughts prevailed.
Indeed. So that would be my guess of where actual intended progression is hiding in that cave, waterfall cave. I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll probably either see a pearl or a master sword there, and that will point us, where do we go next? Do we have Dark World access in full, or do we have Aghanim fight to go do?
Yeah, at this point we do need 2 full items to do Aga, so I can't see that it would have to be both
Correct.
the
That's actually right. Yeah, we still need
Moon
the lamp.
Pearl and a cape or a sword upgrade.
Or we could get something else entirely different. We could get boots. We could get bow and lamp, and that would open up Eastern Palace fully for our runners to go complete.
Perhaps, yeah. So Walter's going to get a quick look at the heart there. I'm not sure if he saw that before, and he's going to head down and do what you were saying.
Yeah, I believe he did check earlier on a quick jump in there. So we're going to get to see what's lying here behind Waterfall Cave.
So is it going to point us towards Aga or elsewhere? Quick.
Nope, that's the pearl.
Elsewhere.
So
that gives us full Dark World access with the Titan's Mitt. Really helps us out. For both of our runners. Numberplay is making the exact same play. Like, we are within seconds of one another at this point.
Very close race. And that's going to go ahead and open up not only the all the Dark World locations, mostly in Village of Outcasts, but that's also going to open up Thieves Town as our first completable Dark World dungeon.
Yeah. I think that Thieves Town is one of the nicer dungeons to have as a crystal, because it's very easy item-wise. You just need the hammer to make sure you can get everything, but it's not always necessary.
Walther's going to
go ahead. A good amount of items. Sorry.
Walther's going to go ahead and check the chest here in Skull Woods to start with. Looks like, and Numberplay I think is going down to Village Outcasts. So a little bit of divergence starting to appear here.
So some decision making coming into play. You're gonna find just 20 more rupees in the chest game in the Village of Outcasts.
And just a little bit of love there for Walther. He'll get a full refill on his life, because it's going to be the final heart piece he needs to get that 11th heart. So that's nice.
And from the bombable hut here in Village of Outcasts, we get ourselves the bow.
Oh, that's a good find. That's a good find.
When you have silvers early and you get the bow relatively early on, it just feels great. There's a lot of bosses and a lot of enemies that you encounter along the way that just fall down as soon as you hit them with the silver arrow.
Yes, indeed. That's going to be really nice. That will save Number quite a bit of time here. Good news for Walther, at least, is that here in Skullwoods, not really a whole lot that is bow required, so he's not going to have to worry about that as far as losing any time by not having that bow right now.
He finds himself the big key, so he's probably going to head over to check that big key chest. Numberplay also picked up the big key for Thieves Town. Got a couple more checks in the front half before he heads to the back areas.
I think we're going to see Walther do a bomb jump to go check the chest here. There's the big 20 over there for Numberplay in Thieves Town chest number 3.
Ooh! Cane of Samaria as the 4th item in the front of Thieves Town. That is a very versatile and useful item to find.
And unfortunately, Walther just found the map to Skull Woods. Yeah, Numberplay seems to be making the right decisions at the moment. Getting that Cane of Samaria, getting that bow. Walther will eventually get both as well. Perhaps just a little bit delayed.
Yeah, since they're both crystal dungeons, they're going to both have to head into there.
Correct.
And unless through some fluke occurrence Number manages to get go mode before Swamp, he's going to have to make all those same checks. So it's not like either has run ahead. Walter there does do a quick check of what's up on Bumper Cave. We saw it was a piece of heart, so no great find from that.
Nope, and now Walther will be making the trip down into Village of Outcasts. Probably start to pick up all of the things that Numberplay's already picked up here. So, again, like you mentioned, Crow, it seems like Walther's behind right now because he didn't get those items, but they're going to be going through here. And half magic, so that's a check that Walther's made. Numberplay did not make that yet, but one would assume that following the dungeon, he's just going to head right and go do that. So.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's just a small change that doesn't really make much of a difference what order you finish all of the checks in the Village of Outcasts. Sometimes, especially when dealing with Thieves Town, because typically there isn't very many potential items that you need to complete this dungeon. Of course, if it was the hammer, that might have spelled a different game.
Yeah, that certainly would be the case. But the one thing that Numberplay is going to have advantage-wise that Walther won't is having that Cane of Berna for the blind fight. Just as a safety, it'll be kind of nice to have, but not necessarily required. And he does have a number, I should say, specifically, does have the blue mail already.
Oh, that is true, yes. He does take a little bit less damage from those fireballs and everything else along the way. Walter's going to go look at Dig Game before he decides to pop into Thieves Town. Might be just fishing for that hammer.
One of the things I can say too with how this might work as far as routing is because you can't do Dig Game if you've got the chest or the frog with you. So yeah, the dig guy, Alec Baldwin, does not like that. So maybe just getting it done early, and that way you can just go do the full world tour or delivering the chest back to Gary without having to worry about, gosh, I haven't done Dig Game yet.
But again, this seed just wants to reward our players with health. So another piece of heart at Dig Game. So Numberplay's about to start the blind fight. Let's watch if he makes quick work of this or not.
Looks like Numberplay's got a fairly good idea of how to do the scripted fight here, and blind going to go ahead and shift to the bottom there. Always a little troll move that flips the script a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of players have commented that the last phase of blind is where you get the most comfort. It just feels like those only need 3 more hits, so it's not so scary.
And first crystal to Numberplay at 4210.
Walter, meanwhile, has returned Jeremiah the Bullfrog and gets a Master Sword upgrade.
Yep. Too bad
so today,
it's not needed to fight Aga, so.
Yeah, today the Dwarven Smiths were actually working on weapons, so interesting.
Indeed, and Walther is indeed doing the check here. That's why I thought he went and did the digging game early, is because he just wanted to do that check real quick, and that's gonna make it a lot more efficient to do that.
Yes, and he has the mirror, so he's going to be able to stop by this cave south of the Grove. Cave 45 it is sometimes called.
Yes, indeed. And he's got the gloves, so you can just go ahead and lift up that rock. Doesn't have the book, unfortunately, so we won't be able to get... Oh, Tempered Sword. That's nice. But we won't be able to get a Bombos tablet check out of this.
Yes, but he will probably head into Hype Cave, which is a significant number of checks at this early stage. And considering the rate of items that we've been seeing have been a slow trickle, we're due for a bounty.
Indeed. And Stumpy, you are once again a disappointment. Goodbye, sir. Just the bomb upgrade. So yeah, we'll probably get a Hype Cave check after this. It's always nice if you can route in that Bombos as well at the same time, just because, you know, on the off chance there's an item there of importance, it's a lot easier to get it all in one fell swoop here than having to come back and do it. And just be in a bottle inside that chest.
Yep. Does put Walter at three bottles. So if he ever feels the need to get a little guaranteed insurance, filling those with blue potions, since he has the flute, is a simple, trivial task.
And it looks like Numberplay will be doing much the same on the right side of our screen. Looks like we're probably going to get a very similar path here. Only difference being that Numberplay will be doing this after having completed Thieves Town, and Walther very likely will be doing it on his way before going into Thieves Town.
We get the boots as the first item of Hype Cave, followed by the book.
Aww. Well, it started.
I would say that's a.
No, it started out okay.
I'd say that's like a. I give it a 7.5 out of 10 on hypiness. The boots are pretty nice, and the book does open up some additional paths.
Yeah, I would say maybe like a 6.5, maybe a little bit less. But the book will open up some stuff, and Walther is going to go back actually and check the Bombos tablet. So really the only way he could
with the boots find it's nice.
Indeed, and really the only way he could have did this any cleaner would have been do Hype Cave first, then go do the turn in.
That is true, and that's just a choice there. There's really no difference into whether or not you turn in the purple chest or you go and head to Hype Cave first. Isn't going to make too much of an efficiency routing change.
Correct, because you will still be making you're either going to be carrying the chest over all the way over to Hype Cave and then all the way back, or you're going to be going over there and all the way back. With the boots, I think it's probably actually a little bit quicker.
Walter getting dead rocked as he makes his way up to. Looks like he's going to try and check the Hookshot Cave area of East Death Mountain.
Might be. Yeah, he's going to check Hookshot Cave first. Looks like here.
Yeah, he has already done Super Bunny Cave as a bunny, so.
I was thinking maybe he would go up to do Ether Tablet.
Yes, well, since he will be able to do that afterwards, he can run across. There's no hammer pegs in the way while he's in the Dark World, so he'll probably try to we'll see if he stops by there on the way out.
I think so. Now Numberplay will be getting his boots and literacy, the power to read.
Now the book does this particular Hype Cave. If the book leads to a pedestal check showing a required pedestal seed, that increases the hypiness of this cave, I think.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. I think if that leads to a ped check and ped's got something of value, yeah, and it looks like Bombos is going to be the medallion for Turtle Rock there.
Yeah, which Walter has picked up in one of the checks that he's made that Numberplay did not, so maybe it was in Skullwoods, I'm not quite sure. 20 rupees, a big 20 in the first chest of Hookshot Cave, followed by 10 arrows, another piece of heart, and 3 more bombs. So Hookshot Cave really not living up to any type of excitement. And you were correct. A check on the Ether tablet is definitely in the books.
I think it's just a smart play. You're up here, it doesn't take that much time to go check it. Why not do it? Save yourself the hassle from having to do it later. Because the one thing you wouldn't want, you do not want there to be something good up here, progression, or something needed, and next thing you know, you didn't check it, it's the last place on your tracker, and, well, this time it's only 50, but you certainly wouldn't want that to be the case. You gotta go all the way back up to do it.
So Walter's going to take this opportunity to grab that cane of Burna that he had left behind. And Numberplay looks to be making the run towards Palace of Darkness, and I would suggest that he's likely going to mirror over and finish Eastern Palace as well, since he has
probably. I think Walther may be checking Spike Cave while he's up here. I think that's maybe why he went out of his way to go get the Cane of Burna.
Yes, he may be making that call, but unfortunately he does not have the hammer. So if he were to do that, he will be unsatisfactorily reminded of that fact shortly afterwards.
Yeah, it's always easy to forget that hammer. Even the best of us will miss it.
Oh,
Yeah, he just
I think
realized
he
it.
just realized it. He must have felt a disturbance in the force as we were talking about it.
Probably. I think he was thinking, you know what, I'll switch to hammer as I jump off here. And he thought about it. And he's like, wait a minute, I don't even have hammer.
But he does have Thieves Town to check, so looks like that's potentially where he's going to head now. Numberplay's rapidly getting through Eastern Palace.
So we're gonna have to see a dark room to get through to Armos Net here, because our runners still don't have the lamp and they still don't have the fire rod to be able to light those torches.
Now, this dark room is very hit or miss for a lot of players. You kill off the little I don't know their name, and hopefully kill that guy there. You got him right away, and now you just got to find the pot that you need to pick up.
Indeed, it's actually not too difficult if you do it like that. So what I saw on Numberplay do it was really smart, was using those sword beams. They do damage. They do damage the mimics there. So you can just do that. Just line yourself up with where they're at, swing away, and once you've got them lined up, they'll just keep walking toward you. So
yeah, just don't let up.
I think it takes 6, maybe 7 to take one of those down. Obviously, you need the bow, even if you get past that, because the red variants are only receptive to arrows.
Yep. So Walter's on his way through Thieves Town. He's made it through the front half. Finding the hammer was that the hammer?
Yeah, that's the hammer. That's a great play by Numberplay.
Yeah, good choice to go there first before going into pod, because as we all know, the Palace of Darkness does require the hammer for some of its to get all the way through it.
So that means that Numberplay will not be able to go in and do just a full clear of Palace of Darkness, be able to complete this dungeon all in one go.
Yes, and this has really opened up the game for him as well. Like, certain dungeons are now available to him that were not. He's able to go to Swamp is now accessible for him. He has access to full clear. He could also go into Ice Palace if he wants to hazard the Green Pendant dungeon.
And 2 things very quickly here that Chad has pointed out. Number 1, those enemies are called Igors. And number 2, technically, because he didn't have the lamp or the fire rod, that's a sequence break to be able to get that hammer right now.
That is indeed true. So I'm wondering if the game is really pushing them towards Ice Palace at this point, because they do have the flippers and the ability to get in there, and Bombos is an item that's available to them.
Well, we'll find that out soon enough.
Oh, I also have forgotten, Desert Palace is completable now because they did get the boots, and I'm not sure if they got all of the items out of Desert Palace yet.
I don't believe we have. We've gotten
one more left.
Yes, I think there's one more left. Did they check the Lake Island thing yet? Yes. They have checked that, and it is going to be just a piece of heart. I mean, a full heart. It's life.
So now in oh, that's true. They don't have a lamp, so they can't, or the fire rod, so they can't complete Desert Palace. They can get the big key, check the big key chest, but to get to the Land Wallace, they'll need to light those torches, and they cannot do that.
Correct. And I don't know if you really want to go ahead and technically, I guess you could say triple dip that. It would probably be more of a double dip since it's in 2 parts, but I think it'd be a lot easier as a runner just to kind of, do it all in one go.
So Numberplay is having a hard time hitting that switch there with the silver arrows. He put quite a few into the wall and the treasure chest there, but managed to plink his way down so that he can make this hop and check out the back sections of the Palace of Darkness. There's lots of chests here, and the dark rooms in this part are not particularly challenging. The maze basically guides you along the way once you know where the chests are.
But the maze can be a little bit confusing to the uninitiated, those who don't have practice with it. I think Number and Walther probably have enough practice that they can do it in the dark. I know I don't, so there's no rule against bringing up a map if you're running to bring up a map of that so you can figure it out, but
that is true. So I was thinking that Walther was going to go check Bonk Rocks there, but he's decided to take a look at, I think, Lumberjack Cave.
And so the basement, the U-shaped basement there is going to have Ice Rod and another heart.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to do the big scary dark room maze here in Pod.
Yeah, you have to watch really carefully. Sometimes, depending on what kind of item it is, you may not even be able to see what you've picked up. So you have to go with other cues, like sound cues, or perhaps watching your money go up or down. Walther finds a piece of heart in the Bonk Rocks. Probably be heading to Graveyard Ledge next, then following that up with King's 2.
I think Numberplay may have found just the minor item. There's the fire rod. Ooh.
Wow! Both fire and ice in the Palace of Darkness dark rooms.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that Ice Palace. Oh wait, it can't be that. Ice Palace would have to have hammer as well to be able to get the cold stare. Oh my goodness, where's that lamp? Where could that lamp be?
Well, it could be. It could just be anticipating a double dip. That could be part of the logic.
Yeah, that's correct. We could have a double dip Ice Palace as part of the logic, or whatnot, because with that hammer, that's going to open up a ton of stuff here for Numberplay. Got that fire rod, obviously the ice rod.
So at this point, Numberplay does not have the Bombos tablet, so he couldn't have made the call to go into Ice Palace prior to this. But it looks like that's what I think that may be all he's missing. I'm not sure if we know what the Misery Mire. I want to say I thought I saw it was Quake. I think one of the players did make a quick run, but I'm not sure if I can be 100% sure of that.
I know Numberplay walked past it before.
Yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention when he did, because he did the Mire Shed.
Yeah, when he did
walk,
the bunny walk, yeah.
Walter's gonna go ahead and check Catfish here. Actually, kind of an important check. It's out of the way, and I have seen it.
Also,
decide races too. So
he may decide to take a look at the pyramid as well. Sometimes some runners will want to wait until they have the big bomb to do all 3 checks at pyramid, but the way that this seed is going, I think you might want to just get whatever you can.
That's a good point. That's why Walther would have it. Gold sword, nice. Bombos may have been. Was Bombos in Super Bunny Cave? Or was that just? I think that may have been just rupees in the heart.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly where Bombos was. It wasn't. It might have been. No, I'm not sure. I'm racking my brain and can't remember. Maybe somebody in chat does remember. Yes, Zora has been paid by both of our runners at this point.
We got some fine craft arrows out of it. You know, Numberplay.
Oh, the artisanal arrows.
Yes,
and here
taking on Helmasaur King on the right side.
Yeah, and Walter's gonna go get us a look at what's on the pyramid.
And one shot and dead.
Bullseyed Helmasaur King. Another piece of heart. It's looking more and more like the potential for a double dip.
Yeah, I would think so at this point. Because there's not a whole lot else that's open to Walther. Unless it's, potentially could be if Desert Palace hasn't had that second item, there's a possibility it could be there. Or a nice Palace double dip.
Yeah, so Walter's now going to go ahead and do that Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness kind of play that Numberplay is just finishing up at this point. He's got a Butter Sword to make that a little bit faster for him. But the runners are just giving a quick little high five there as they run past one another, going opposite directions.
Indeed. Will be interesting here to see if Walther goes. He's got the mirror out. And yep, he is going to mirror, and I think we're going to see the same play from Walther that Numberplay made earlier. Just do that dark room, go fight the Armos Knights, see if they drop anything. He'll be handsomely rewarded with the hammer, and that will open up a lot of the same things as well.
And we see they keep the Numberplay's keeping up the tradition of just going and doing exactly what his opponent did a few moments ago, and he checks the Pyramid Fairy, or excuse me, the Pyramid Ledge.
Indeed, and actually, I'm going to take this moment, since we're in, to go ahead and follow both of our fantastic runners right now. They're putting on a heck of a show. This is actually a really close race, even though it doesn't seem like it. You might think, well, look at all the stuff that Numberplay has already done. Walther hasn't, but Numberplay is not going to be doing some of that, probably the overworld location checks, the time-consuming ones that Walther's already done, while Walther's going to be going through the same dungeons that Numberplay has already completed. So we will probably reconverge here fairly soon.
Yeah, keeping in mind, of course, Numberplay has to do all of the North Dark World run there, where King's Tomb, Graveyard Ledge, and then to mirror back to Bonk Rocks. He's picking up his Butter Sword now. So it is deceptively close, I think, is a good way to phrase this.
Indeed. So chat's asking, where were all the swords? I think I can remember all of them. Let me see if I can rack my brain here. First sword was in Escape. Second sword, it wasn't an Escape, but it was in Rescue and Escape, because they had that pretty early. Second sword was on the Dwarven Smiths. Third sword was in Cave 45, and the fourth sword just picked up right there at Catfish. Oh, first one was on Mushroom Spot. That's right. That's right. It was on Mushroom Spot in Lost Woods. Dang, so close.
It's hard to remember those early ones. They just
they do blend together.
They blend together a little bit.
A lot. Especially when you're a runner of this too, and you're just like, that's just to me that's just all early check. It just all blends into one spot.
So, finding the hammer here, Walter's about to be pleasantly surprised or pleased with this particular item.
Meanwhile, Numberplay going to make the Graveyard Ledge check. We know it's a big 300 hiding out in there, so unfortunately he won't find the progression that he may be seeking.
Now I'm just looking at the dungeons that we have left. I would guess that the swamp is where you're going to probably head if you're a runner. At this point, just you have access to everything there now that the hammer's in hand.
Very much so. I think that's the one that stands out as being fully completable. So to me, that seems like the logical play is go to the one that you can complete right now, rather than the one you might have to double dip.
Yeah, Numberplay actually looks like he might be going to check Bumper Cave, and I wonder if he'll take a swing by Skull Woods instead, because that's a very quick dungeon now that he has the fire rod that he can finish off with relative ease.
Great. Actually, yeah, Numberplay's got actually 3 dungeons open. Skull Woods is going to be open. Desert Palace will be open because he does have the fire rod now, so that is a good point to bring up. And obviously, Swamp Palace.
Now it is also possible, like Lamp, which really is where their sequence broke, like where most of their item progressions have been behind the Missing Lantern, could be the first couple of chests in Swamp. It could also have been fairly early on, and it could have been fairly early on in Ice Palace, but it would have been a double dip for both of those dungeons if they had not done. If they had not logic broken and gone ahead and finished off Eastern Palace to get the hammer.
Correct. So they have a lot open, mostly because of the fact that they've logic. And we're gonna get a check here from Numberplay.
Unfortunately, he mirror bonked himself back into the dark world. And...
Yeah, there you go. Just it's always easy to remember that the two sides don't quite match up there. I'm like, Number. Just open up the dungeon. You can walk right in.
I think it's a pretty long shot for this to be required.
Just a little piece of love, yeah. So sorry, no pet hype tonight, guys.
Yeah, with the medallion requirements that we know of, Turtle Rock is not open or is not easily openable, and that was going to limit their ability to get one of the pendants. So
Great. We're seeing Numberplay go ahead and skip that first chest for now. Probably we'll just dip back in after beating Mothula. Maybe an easier check, because that way if Mothula has the item, you don't have to come back in. Ooh, watching that wall master trying to grab that key.
He wanted to get his hands on it.
What was on Ped? Just a little piece of heart.
All right, the Mothula fight. Now, I learned an interesting fact that I didn't know, that when they were creating the randomizer, they had to recode Mothula's interaction with the Butter Sword. Apparently, the damage that a Butter Sword does is somehow related to the same thing as spikes.
Ooh, there's the Quake.
There's the Quake medallion, which helps us out. And so Mothula was actually not hurt by the Butter Sword, because there was no way in the original game, for you to have Butter Sword when fighting Mothula.
That's it. Just what I was about to say. It was not ever intended for that to be a thing, so we sure wouldn't have programmed for it.
Yeah, and so they had taken a shortcut, and the wonderful coders who've created the Zelda Randomizer managed to find a workaround for that to make sure that Mothula would fall to the Butter Sword.
I mean, what? It's only like, 25, 26 years later that became a problem? Because of us pesky kids?
Yes. So Numberplay is going to get rid of some of his Bs, no longer an APRist.
And I believe if Numberplay can go ahead and do the Misery Mary Dark Rooms, that would put him in go mode.
That is true, yeah. I think he has access to... Or does he need Bombos? Are we sure? Yeah, I think Turtle Rock is Bombos, and he does not yet have his Bombos medallion. So until he makes that critical check, he's not quite there.
Correct. Though, on the other hand, Turtle Rock is not necessarily required. It is a pendant dungeon this time around.
Oh, that's true. Of course.
So
we'll see if he chooses to go mode Swamp. Then we'll know that he feels confident.
Walther going ahead and picking up that fire rod. Mira now. Probably gonna go take care of the Sword King right now.
So Swamp is one of my favorite dungeons to go mode. You just can really easily make a lot of skips. You don't have to go left side. You can just, once you get to that main area, just make sure you have that, grab that key off the one skull pot. And yep, looks like Numberplay is doing that. He bypasses that chest off on the left-hand side there. He is full on gonna dark room go mode. He's feeling relatively good at an hour and 10 minutes, an hour and 9 minutes in. That's a nice feeling.
Indeed. And yeah, the one nice thing about being able to go mode Swamp Palace, you don't have to pick up a single dungeon once you get that big. I don't think you even need a big key.
you don't even need the big key. You
So,
just need the one small key that's in that lobby area that is always there under the pot. So
correct. And of course, they intend for you to use that on a different door, but hey, who's keeping track of these things?
yep, so he's going to grabs that key, makes his way up these stairs, and is going to hook shot on into the back.
Will we eventually learn where the lamp is?
I was going to say, Orange Juice, I think we may not. I think we may never find it.
We may find it if it's an Ice Palace and Numberplay opens it up, looking for that big key and happens upon it, because we're not gonna be able to do the Swamp Palace, skip all the chest thing in Ice Palace.
Well, Ice Palace is another pendant dungeon, so
oh yeah,
he does not have to go there.
Misery Mire.
Yeah, it could be. I suppose it could be in the lobby of Misery Mire at this point. They were able to get both the cane and the boots and the hook shot without it, so it could be in the lobby area of Misery Mire.
Mm-hmm. We don't actually get a spoiler log. We are just as surprised to see some of these things pop up as our runners and as you guys do. So we're all kind of enjoying the rando fun together.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the randomizer, when you create a specific race seed, it locks out the spoiler log. Like, you cannot actually download it.
Yep.
Numberplay makes quick work of Argus, as Walter makes quick work of the Helmasar King, choosing to use the spins instead of the arrow there, or missing the arrow and being forced to use Butter Sword spins.
Indeed. Still, Quake is on Macula, for those asking in chat.
So Numberplay just getting a bomb upgrade for his troubles there in the Swamp Palace. I'm going to expect that he heads over and does either Desert or Misery Mire first. Not sure which one he'll choose to go through. But since both are right next to each other, it really doesn't make much of a difference.
It looks like Walter's just going to go ahead and skip to do that as well. Which...
yeah, but he does not have Quake.
So he can't do Mire. He's gonna have to go back to Skullwood to do that first. Finish that up.
Here's another example where we have a little bit. We've made a routing choice, but efficiency of progression of movement here is unfortunately off, because Walter feels necessary to head into this dungeon. He feels like something is missing. He's going to grab himself the big key. There's still one item left, so he will be checking the big key chest.
So yeah, I think the answer to where is lamp is not I love lamp. It's I love Ice Palace, because that's where it is.
Or it's sitting in the lobby of Misery Mire.
That too.
But Fire Rod, it cannot be here in Desert, because the Fire Rod was necessary, and that was through a dark room. And I'm not too sure about Misery Mire. Now that I think about it, because Quake was in Swamp, and
right.
Nothing in Swamp needed the lantern.
Quake was in.
Oh no, Hammer was required. So
yeah, Quake was in Skullwoods, and the Fire Rod was in that.
Fire Rod was in Pod. So so it has to be Ice Palace.
Yep. So we're gonna get to see some. We are indeed gonna get to see some dark room action here. Misery Mire. This will be very interesting. Specifically, the first room is the toughest of the dark rooms, because you gotta get that King of Samaria block on a switch, and that switch is very finicky.
Yes, indeed. It's finding the switch and picking up the pot that it's under is not particularly difficult, but it's almost feels like you need to be pixel perfect just to get the block to register that it's on the button. Although I suppose it's definitely not a pixel perfect required thing, but it does always seem to be harder than it should be. Of course, you're doing it in complete darkness.
And Walther has gone ahead, and he's going to go back and do Skullwoods. He's completed Desert Palace, so still looking for, looks like Quake or Lamp or something, but we know where both of those items are right now. And Numberplay is looking for that big key.
Yep. Gonna have to check out the vanilla big key chest, which is locked behind one of the longest cutscenes in the game. But there's not much you can do about it. You've got to go where the seed takes you.
I think it's fairly, I think based on what we know right now, I think it's fairly certain to say that Numberplay does have a bit of a lead here, considering that the last dungeon to complete is going to be Desert Palace, and that's just going to be a dip, you know, into the second half of DP. Probably not going to be checking any of the chests in there, because once you got through Mire, you don't really need that lamp for anything. So,
an unfortunate turn of events for Walther. He does not have a key to get into the back half of Skullwoods, and I don't believe that the chest here, he's hoping that it is a key. I don't believe that we know if it's a key or not. I think Numberplay just skipped this and got the item he was looking for. So there's a chance. There's a chance. Oh,
yep.
Very lucky.
You saved a little bit there.
Randomizer gods were smiling upon him.
Well, that makes sense, because we know there was one item already in Skullwoods, and Mothla had the second item, so as long as he had the, and he did have the map and compass, he already found that, so.
So here we see Walter, or Numberplay, sorry, getting the block on. He actually picked it up and threw it to hit the button, but he did make it through that siege.
I think he threw it off the wall. I think there's a way to do it really easily, that you just have to throw it off the wall just right. So I've been told. I've never actually had success in doing it, but
yeah. Anyway, he made it look easy.
Indeed.
So now he's kind of in this dark maze area. It's kind of like a little bit smaller maze than the Dark Room and Pod. Getting a little bit frustrated with trying to hit that switch, but did manage to hit it. Meanwhile, Walther has killed. Mothula is going to grab the Quake Medallion, and we're going to find out relatively quickly if he feels comfortable with the Misery Mire Dark Rooms as well. If we see him go to either Swamp or Misery Mire now and go full go mode through those dungeons.
Indeed. So essentially, Walther, the gap between Walther and Numberplay right now is essentially go mode Mire, go mode Swamp Palace.
Numberplay makes it out of the dark through the most challenging part of that this dungeon.
Oh, actually, yeah, Numberplay also has to go ahead and do Desert Palace. I forgot that. Yes.
Desert Palace. Yes.
So, yeah, it won't be that big of a gap, but yeah, Numberplay does indeed have a little bit of a gap here.
So, it is technically faster if you have Cave of Brian and Buttersword to do this strategy that Numberplay is using to take care of the eyes than it would be to just use the silver arrows. So we just see a little bit of small tweak there.
Very interesting.
Gets 50 rupees. Not that I think he's concerned about his rupee count at this point. He's already loaded up on blue potions.
And we're going to see Walther go ahead and do a go mode for Swamp Palace. Not necessarily a bad call. He's got to do two of them. You got to do both go mode dungeons anyways, so you know, pick your poison at this point. Kind of curious here. We're seeing Numberplay go ahead and through Eastern Palace. Are we going to see... He does have to get the big key.
Yeah, he has to grab the big key here, and then probably he's got the mirror on, so I'm assuming he's going to mirror back out.
Well, he can't mirror back out because he went in the front entrance.
He did go in the front entrance, yes. That's not where I had thought.
Yeah,
Not that it's just a quick little jaunt to get back outside.
Yeah, he's just going to boots back there.
All right, so this will be our indicator of feels he's at as far as the Misery Mire Dark Room. If we see him go moding this dungeon, we'll know for sure. Otherwise, he may look for the lamp.
He's got that hammer out. I think he's going to go ahead.
He's going to hammer these.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's in go mode too.
Yep. If these are both 2-0 runners, so it stands to reason that they're likely very feeling confident in their ability to do most of the dark rooms in this game. So it's not really a big surprise that that's the case.
Right. And so Numberplay gonna be going ahead, lighting those torches. Get ready for some Emola's triple battle action time.
He's got his fire sword out, or he's got his tempered sword out, or excuse me, he's got his fire rod out to do fire rod strats. Ready to do a spin to finish off a land mollusk that gets away from him if he wants to.
Fire sword? Boy, I'd like to have that.
Words are difficult. Just a set of bombs to bring his total up to 34. It is notable that Numberplay is at 7 arrows, so he's going to probably be hopefully picking up some arrows on his way through Ganon's Tower, just to make the end of the game a little bit more secure. We'll see if that's what happens. And so we are now at that time, ladies and gentlemen, where it is the game that everyone is excited and hyped up to play. Guess the big key location. So if you enter into the chat now a number between 1 and 22 to indicate where you believe the Ganon Tower big key is going to be, as long as you are either a subscriber or have donated to bits, I think it's 250 bits to one of the Speed Gaming or A Link to the Past Randomizer channels, you'll be able to participate in this hilarious and fun game. Get yourself some acknowledgement on the leaderboard. So get your numbers in. Is there a prediction from you, Nihan?
I'm gonna go ahead and say 12. I always guess 12, lucky number. So I like to stick with that. So that usually puts it, if they check right side, it usually puts it somewhere around Rando Room, anyways, which is nice. Because that's kind of a thing we don't get to see outside of Randomizer too much.
I'm feeling that this seed is going to be super generous, and I'm going to go with number 2 today.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm feeling that that's where we're going to end up. Last night I watched a seed where it actually ended up being on Tile Room, and the runners were getting more and more frantic as they were playing. Actually, right now in chat, Cow Utopia, who was in that race, he experienced that particular experience last night.
I will say though, the most rewarding time it's on Tile Room is when you just are like, you're like YOLO and you just do Tile Room first and it's in there, so it's like chest number 3.
Oh yeah, that's always good, but I feel like that's the play that one makes when they think they're behind. Just to hey, maybe I'm lucky. So here we are checking the first and finding the powder. Chest number 2 gets us a small key, so I was wrong.
Yeah. You got that powder though, that's gonna be a nice little safety for going up GT here. Be able to get powder some of those anti-fairies.
Meanwhile, Walter's gonna. Oh, there it is, number 3 on the torch.
For those of you who guessed 1, you just needed number to go to the left side first.
That's true. Could have done it. Now he has to actually pick up a small key here. Doesn't need it, but it does make his run up the Ganon's Tower a lot easier when he has 2 keys heading up the back half of GT.
Indeed.
So at an hour and 25 minutes, hour 24 and a half minutes, we're at a pretty quick pace to complete this seed. I don't think anyone is ever gonna feel bad about a run that they're in Ganon's Tower in at this time. So I'm sure Numberplay is feeling pretty confident right now.
Certainly not. I think he's probably feeling pretty good right now. I don't know if he's thinking that he's behind, because usually when we talk to runners after they win, the first thing they tell us is, "I think I was behind the whole time."
It is likely, but I would say that in this particular game, this particular seed gave the runners very little choice in where to go. And we saw that all the way along until near the very end, that there wasn't much in the way of divergence of places to check. Although choosing to do Darkroom Pod earlier was the big point that I think Numberplay got a little bit ahead of Walter in this case.
Yeah, I think it was actually just making that Eastern Palace play early and then doing the Dark Room, finding that hammer, which opened up Pod, which began the chain to get everything else.
Everything just sort of fell into place as soon as you made that call. Meanwhile, Walter had gone ahead and done the northern route of the Dark World, which did not really get him anything that made him get any progress in the game. So Numberplay was free to not make those checks afterwards.
In fact, Numberplay even picked up something that Walther is not going to pick up at all, which is the blue mail.
Well, that is true. Well, perhaps not. We don't know. Walter may check some extra chests in Ganon's Tower and
correct. Get them. Yeah, there may be
another blue mail.
A mail upgrade hiding out in GT. Correct.
Oh, a nice one cycle on the Wizrobes there.
Oh, is it always kind of a trolley room at times with that the way that those Wizrobes kind of pop in there and the treadmills?
Yeah. I could not tell you the number of times that spike block has intercepted one of my cane bolts. Just made me shake my fist at it. Walter's going to go down and find the big key here in the vanilla location and make his way through the dark portion of Misery Mire shortly thereafter.
Meanwhile, Numberplay making his way over to Moldorm 2 just to kind of wrap all of this up on his end. He's got quite a bit of a lead going into GT here.
Yep. Making excellent use of that brand new powder that he just got to refill some fairies, or refill some hearts off those fairies.
Probably going to make very quick work of Moldorm here with that gold sword.
Yeah, it's only 2 hits. It's a pretty easy fight, although he made it look a little closer than it would have been otherwise. Oh, unfortunately did not get the hook shot skip through that rock and had to go through the more intended path.
Also skipped the final chest in GT, so...
Yeah. At this point, the only thing that would even make much of a difference for him would be his red mail upgrade. But it's not really anything a runner of this level is going to be concerned about.
Or Bugnet. Bugnet could have been in there. Gotta get those swag strats in.
Get the swag strats on Aghanim here.
Mm-hmm.
Who is not getting some friendly positioning for him there. Those are some awkward shots. He gets nothing on that last one there.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Ooh, a nice triple to make up for it.
Oh, that could have been a triple too, but the real Aga was just lined up a little bit too close there. But he's got the 6 in. Got the work in there.
Alright, so now let's see how trolly Ganon wants to be with his teleportations.
Just have to see what knob that Ganon is set to tonight. Is it Small troll, medium troll, large troll, super troll. For the final setting, I broke the knob off.
Alright, so with Butter Sword, it's only 6 hits per phase. It's really easy. You throw in some spins and it's even less. We've already progressed into phase 2, and I think he's done more than enough hits for phase 3 to start after these fire bats fly out. Meanwhile, Walther's getting a more traditional style of fight on Vitreous, but equally quick, and is able to kill him, putting him in position to head up Ganon's tower as well.
An interesting little Ganon fact tonight. Ganon is a Pink Floyd fan.
Ah, yes, the Space Cadet glow.
Did you find the arrows in the light world?
They were a little soggy.
We have.
But both of our runners did it.
Oh, very nice. You got the torch glitch with the fire rod. From a distance, actually, so that's actually really nicely done.
Range torch glitch. Should get the double here.
Indeed. And, wow. Very clean, very nice run from Numberplay here.
Yep, I think that's a solid run through. Just wait until he gets through this end sequence and crosses the threshold of the doorway. Numberplay has finished the game off with an official time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 57 seconds. Is victorious in this 2-0 race.
Indeed. And Walther not actually going to be too far behind. He's just got to go through Ganon's tower, so he'll have a really good time as well. So basically, that's what the gap is going to be. It's just going to be the climb, Ganon's tower, and the Ganon fight. So still pretty close, all things considered. Numberplay just had that early check, and I think that early check in the EP was the decider.
Okay, so I'll send a little message over here to Numberplay, see if he wants to come and have a little chat with us and get his thoughts on the scene.
Indeed. And Walther, of course, going over here to open up the portal. Not actually going to go into Turtle Rock. Doesn't have to go into TR for any reason. Just going to get that Dark World access. And actually, oh, Ether was the medallion. Well, it doesn't really matter. They had all the medallions anyways. Yeah, here we thought it was Bombos. Guess we just missaw that one.
Just waiting for Numberplay to he might be taking a little.
Yeah. Well, he just popped into our chat here, our Twitch chat, with the exclamation, "Oh my God, that was this far ahead."
Oh yeah, you must have been feeling it.
You must have been feeling like it was like your neck.
Just see if get him to pop it.
You got a little bit of static there, Crow. And your mic.
Nope,
Well, Walther has got his Ganon's Tower big key. Sorry about that, everybody. It looks like.
Sorry, I
like
just had to fix my mic there.
It's alright.
I do have Numberplay ready to come up, so I'm just gonna get him up in our channel and welcome Numberplay. Congratulations on that run. How are you feeling after that?
Thank you. Wow, I was nervous the whole time after I got my go mode, and I didn't realize how far ahead I was after I put up the speed gaming stream.
Oh yes, we saw in Twitch chat that you were a little surprised that you were as far ahead as you felt. You must have felt like he was right on your tail there?
Well, I felt like I did a little too bit of overworld checking, and the dungeons I chose to enter were all kind of... I was expecting them to be bad, so I thought my opponent would do the same.
Yeah, you guys were pretty much making the same checks as each other, just all the way along, just kind of in a slightly different order. You would have high-fived one another at least 3 or 4 times throughout the course of the game. But how did you feel about this? The fact that the seed seemed to be holding back everything at the start. You got yourself a fighter sword and then a whole lot of rupees.
Yeah, and Kakariko had absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we were commenting that it felt like a really close-fisted seed for you. But was there a point where you felt like it opened up and really started to like come together with a coherent plan for what you needed to do?
Yeah, I ended up checking all the overworld in the light world, but once you had world access, everything was open basically, and that's where the game picked up.
Yeah. So the one thing that I remember being kind of a point where you got the lead that you ended up with was when you chose to go right to Eastern Palace and do that dark, and then follow that up with Pod and got yourself the hammer. It must have felt pretty good to see the hammer after you killed Stavros Knights or Armos Knights there.
Yeah, I was expecting the hammer to be somewhere in Pod, actually, almost vanilla. Yeah. So finding it in Eastern was actually really great, but that did put me on nerve because of that chest I skipped in Thieves' Town, which had an item as well.
Right, it was an item according to the counts, but of course you and your opponent were both unable to check that at any point. You were probably feeling like you were waiting for the lantern for a while, but just never came.
Actually, once I found my fire rod in Pod, I actually knew I didn't need the lamp.
Yeah, we speculated that you'd probably be able to go right to go mode as soon as you could, and as soon as we saw you run right past that first chest area in the swamp, we were like, well, Misery Mire Darkroom is not something that's going to scare you off.
Yep, and I see that Walter did not find the lamp as well.
Yeah, we think it's a nice palace. I think it's the only place left it could possibly be, because everything else was locked behind dark rooms. So.
Oh, he went into Turtle Rock?
No, but you would have had to get into Turtle Rock. You would have needed items. The cane, I believe, was in the dark. Yeah. Was hidden behind some dark. Oh no, cane was in Thieves' Town, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Thieves' Town. You could enter Turtle Rock without the lamp.
Oh.
Oh, that's because for a long time we thought it was bomb the Turtle Rock.
Yes.
Medallion, and it was ether.
Ether. So yeah, that's a possibility as well. Correct.
So Walther's just gonna finish up his Moldarm 2 fight and head on up to Ganon now.
Yeah, either option's particularly trolly, so.
I actually never knew what medallion was required for Turtle Rock, never checked. So it was ether.
It was ether, so you had that from an early on time, but by the time you picked up the Fire and Ice Rod in Palace of Darkness, there was no point that you would want to make your way through there. Oh, and additionally, you would have needed
hammer.
Yeah, so
I just realized.
Yeah, so really, Turtle Rock was never a play that anyone, I think, would have been able to even try to make. Unless you were incredibly uncomfortable with those last dark rooms.
Mm-hmm. So, were there any real surprises early game as far as what you guys had found that made you think that it could have been like Agaseed? Because I know you guys were looking for that pearl for a while until you found those flippers in the checkerboard cave.
Yeah, I actually regret doing the fake flipper then. It felt like the play because you had the money, and finding that hook shot was great, but after all it ended up giving you nothing.
Yeah, that is true. It gave you early hook shot, but you didn't really have to make use of it. That's true. 124.
And Paradox Cave was totally empty.
Indeed, but
Yeah,
you did make one play that Walther didn't make, and it did net you an item that he is not going to have as he's going into his Ganon fight here. You picked up that mail upgrade in the Meyer chest by using the Super Bunny mirror trick.
Oh yeah, the Super Bunny. If I'm going to go to the desert area without the uncle, I'm always checking that.
Okay, so that's just basically something that's in your usual routing.
Oof, and it may have been a factor there because Walther just got crushed by a bunch of fireballs fighting Ganon, so fortunately he has potions to escape.
Correct.
So we weren't quite sure, but that were you guys were both at 2-0 before this number play?
Yep. So now I'm 3-0.
Yeah, it's got to feel nice to have the first 3 done like that.
I was actually expecting to lose this one, so I'm glad I won it.
Indeed, but it's only going to get more difficult from here because the 2-0, obviously with all the 2-0 matchups, half of those people are going to go to 3-0, and you're going to have some really stiff competition coming up here. Are you at all concerned about possibly running into a really tough matchup next time, or do you think that this has kind of given you the confidence you need maybe to go to 4-0?
Oh, this win definitely gives me confidence now.
Excellent.
I knew Walter was a really tough opponent, so knowing that I can beat these kind of players, I'm confident I can get another win at least, make it to the brackets.
Yeah, because you're just 2 wins away from brackets right now.
Am I actually already guaranteed into the brackets?
No, not yet. You will need the minimum amount that people might do to drops. There's a possibility to tiebreaker in with 4 and 3, but to guarantee at this point, it's still going to be 5 and 2, I believe.
Yes, I think that's correct.
Yep. So Walther has just finished his race at an official time of 1 hour 41 minutes and 12 seconds.
GG's to Walther as well.
GG to Walther as well. And we'll see if he'd like to come in and join our little chat, see what his thoughts on the seed are as well.
I'm not sure, but this might have been a PB for me.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, PB is always great to run into, and you have a really low collection rate too, 124 out of 216. That's a fairly fast seed, all things considered.
Yeah. One thing that bothers me though is that it wasn't on Speedrun's live, so I couldn't actually check if it's a PB for me.
Oh. And let's welcome Walther to the chat. GG, thanks for an excellent race and a great show. Just would like to ask how you feel about this seed.
Yeah, thank you, and GG to Numberplay. It was a pretty fine seed. I felt that I made a few mistakes, but except for that, I'm pretty okay with like how it turned out.
Yeah, I think you guys pretty much have the same areas that you went and checked. I think just the routing choices, the way that they were checked, I think may have ultimately given Numberplay the advantage here. I think he was able to pull ahead by hitting certain places a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I did a lot of trips up to Death Mountain by mistake. I went up there thinking I had the Moon Pearl when I was looking for the Moon Pearl.
Mm-hmm. And
then I went back up again because I wanted to route in the rest of Death Mountain together with Spike Cave, forgetting I had Hammer.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and and when you guys went into to Skull Woods there as well, Number went and did Mothula and got that Quake medallion before he went to Misery Mire and Desert Palace, and was just able to do them back to back.
Yeah, I went to Desert first because I forgot which medallion was needed for Mire, so I wanted to double check it.
And how do you feel about having a seat? Did not manage to find a single male upgrade there. We were wondering, you at one point during that Ganon fight, you got bodied by a couple of fireballs.
Yeah, like it didn't. I had 2 bottles, so it wasn't too bad, and we had like 13 hearts.
Yeah, that's true. This was a very
Oh yeah, every
healthy
heart
seed.
in the start of the sea. I had 12 by the time I did my first dungeon, I think.
Yeah, there was just a lot of life in this one, which is not too bad when you're dealing with how hard those Dark World dungeons can really hit. Number did find a male upgrade. It was actually hiding in the mire shed. There was one hiding there.
Yeah, I super bunnied early in the sea to find that.
Yeah, I never checked that. Good thing there wasn't anything important in the mire shed then.
Yeah, and I think we figured out that Ice Palace what was the home for the lamp. So neither of you guys dipped into that and picked it up. So how did you feel as far as going through all those dark rooms? Was it just kind of like basic, I've done this before, it's not too hard kind of thing, or were you just hoping to find that lamp somewhere and make it a little easier?
Well, I quite recently learned the Mire Dark Room, so I'm glad that I trained for that a little bit. Because once we hit go mode, there was like no reason, like we couldn't find the lamp in Swamp Palace or anything like that, because that was lamp locked.
I think that was the 3rd time I actually did the Mire Dark Room. And I'm getting quite good at it now. Once you get it, when you get it once, it's rather easy afterwards.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure if we saw what we thought we saw, but when you were doing the Mire Dark Rooms, were you using the trick where you throw the block onto like a wall to bounce it onto the?
Yep, you just walk to the wall at the south of the room and throw the block up, and it should land on the switch.
Yeah,
yeah, that's the same way I did it.
Yeah. So, guys, it was a fantastic race. Thank you for putting on such a great show. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us about the seed or the tournament going forward?
Not really. It's been a fun tournament so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest.
I'm not looking forward to my first bad seed in this tournament.
You can't blame me there. I don't think any of us are ever looking forward to that. But again, both you guys, incredible job with the execution, with the skill level. You guys there's a reason why you guys came into this match 2-0. So well done on both of you. So thank you very much for running, letting us commentate over your race here.
Yes, thank you very much, and congratulations to both of you. Have a solid record, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Indeed, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so for the rest of us watching, just so you're aware, we've got several more races happening tonight. A couple are starting just in about 10 minutes. There's one Hippo versus Glowens taking place on Speed Gaming 3, and as well on A Link to the Past Randomizer 3, we'll see Flip versus Karnath FD. And then several more going much later on into the evening. So if you're interested in seeing some more rando, you should head on over to those channels. I'd like to thank my commentating partner here, Neon Tiger, for an excellent time tonight. If you are interested, you should probably in A Link to the Past Randomizer. It would be a nice thing for you to do to follow both of the runners, Numberplay and WaltherIV, as well as Nihon here. For all of us here, enjoy this kind of activity, and we always like to share that with people who have similar feelings about that.
Indeed, and make sure to follow not only Crow, who I am very happy to have commentated with tonight. It's been a real pleasure with you. But also make sure to follow DataPlet, who did the tracking for us tonight. So thank you very much, Data, for doing all that and helping keep us on our toes sometimes when we were kind of trying to remember, where do we find it again? Oh yeah, it was over there. Thank you very much.
Yep, and And with that, I think we're going to head on out. And I'm sure that we're probably on our way to go watch some other exciting randomizer. So thanks again for watching. And we hope you all have a great rest of the tournament and enjoy the various matches that are yet to come.
Indeed. Good night, and may the RNG be in your favor.